Hey guys, Anfield here. Basically, I just want to do a video on in-game settings. Now, I know it's a bit of a weird thing to want to do a video on, but I've had a number of incidents that I've been basically made aware of certain settings that people have in-game or don't have on in-game, and I think a lot of these settings are really important, so I want to make this video. Now, most of you will look at this video and gain absolutely nothing from it. You will already have these settings or have some variation of the settings. That's fine. In fact, I hope that most of you won't need this video. But for those new players or for players that may not have considered these things before, this is just going to be a real quick video on what your in-game settings should probably look like. So a lot of it may be opinion, but a lot of it is also necessary. So there's a bit of both there. So we'll get straight to it here. I have the general settings tab open here. Now for new players, I would have encounter and assault turned off. You need to learn the maps on the standard variation before you start dipping into encounter and assault battles. They're a whole different, meta. You don't really want to get into that until you're familiar with the maps anyways. So up here we have enable optics effect in sniper mode. This should be default turned on. I turn it off. I think it's distracting. Again, that's something that's more probably personal preference. I think that going from one color to the other is a little disorienting to me, but it's really up to you. The next two things here I want to point out is enable dynamic camera and horizontal stabilization in sniper mode. I think this helps with aiming quite a lot. So I think it's default turned off. You may want to go into a training room, turn them on, and just try a lot of different shots with it. It may be a little bit disorienting at first, but give it a go if you have them turned off, just to see how you like it. Try multiple different angles on shots, snapshots, aim shots, all sorts of different things, and just see how you like it. I have them on. I like them, so. Server Reticle, if you have high ping, I guess you could turn it on. I have high ping, I don't have it on. I think it's distracting and just throws me off more than anything else. But again, something that I guess you could consider if you have higher ping. Now, this is something I want to get to. I think this is default turned off. I don't know why. It should be default turned on. Enable expanded minimap features. Now, if you don't have modifications like me and you run the game in vanilla, then you definitely want to turn this on. Now, if you run mods and you have like XVM or whatever, then you should leave it off, because XVM adds all this stuff and you'll start seeing double if you leave it on always. That being said, if you don't and you run vanilla, definitely have this on. It gives you your shot direction as well as your last spotted, which is huge. You'll be able to know where tanks were last located and things like that. Absolutely vital. The minimap is one of the most important features in while you're in game. It's a really it's a tool you really should not ignore, and any enhancements to that tool are a good thing. This is definitely a good thing, so can't stress that enough. If you have it off, put it on, assuming you don't have mods. Now, enable battle recording. I'm amazed how many people have this set on the static last. I think you should have it on all. I mean, I guess, you never know when you might need a replay. You might need to go back and look at something. Why did something go wrong in your battle or whatever? I would definitely leave that on, but I guess you don't have to, but I would. Now, this is graphics. Now, this is just going to be a wide variety of stuff, depending on what your... I guess what your computer settings are, how good your computer is. But what I do want to say is that in terms of graphics settings, you should really do don't go over this and skip half of it. You should really take a look at it and be like, okay, what settings are right for me. I like looking at games at high quality. I don't like low quality games. However, I understand that in order to save FPS, you might need to sacrifice a few things. Now, with that being said, and you can see I have some stuff down. A lot of the stuff is just effect stuff that I have turned down. Motion blur turned off. It's kind of a cool effect, but it's distracting, and I don't really see a strategic gain for that. But anyways, Like grass in sniper mode, that just puts foliage in your way when you're trying to aim. No. Floral density, I have it on low. I like to see where it is, but yeah, don't need that. Extra effects in sniper mode is off. That's an FPS killer. Extra effects is on medium. Again, sort of FPS. Shadow's bad and lighting is bad for FPS too, so I have those off. What I do want to point out is basically just make sure that when you're playing the game, that you have the settings that really help you. If you're finding that you lag in game and it's nothing to do with ping or packet loss and it's FPS lag, go into a training room with a friend and just alter these settings, because you never know. One setting being turned off or whatever could make a drastic change. So sound, there's nothing really I can go over in sound. I guess the only thing, I have National Crew voices on, and it's a little more immersive and I like it, and also sounds cool. Standard would be better in terms of what's going on with your tank regardless of the nation, unless you speak a lot of languages. I've memorized what everything they say is anyway, because I played these tanks enough that I know what they're saying. Even if it's in a foreign language, I know what they mean. But that's not really interesting stuff. I mean, that's not really important. The only thing I want to go over in control, I want to get your sensitivity right too, by the way. Sometimes I alter this, but yeah. The only thing I do want to go over on the keyboard is if you have a fire extinguisher, and you should always try to get auto extinguishers when you're in late tiers. If you're in the early tiers, I guess a manual fire extinguisher could be excused, especially if you have a standard account and you're new to the game. But if you are running a standard fire extinguisher, obviously you need to put it out. I would put that on space rather than 6. I don't know if mine is even changed because I don't really care. No, it's on consumable 6. Pretty sure that's right. Yeah. So this will be this slot here. You want to change it to space if you're running that. You should try to run automatic as much as you can, or rations, whatever you're doing. But I understand in lower tiers that's not always possible. So if you are running a manual, you should probably have that on space. Last thing, really, in terms of really important stuff. Well, yes, maybe. Actually, more like marker is the last important thing. Reticles less important, more preference, but I think it's important anyways. So I'm just going to go over it. This is my reticle settings, right? I have central marker on aim point 1, which is this, and then the gun marker on O shape 3, which is this. You could have them on the others, but the reason I have it like this is because the smaller the marker, the easier it is to aim. So let me show you the difference. This is the standard one. That's a lot harder, in my opinion, to really focus on the point that you're trying to shoot. You want to make it as small as possible and also not have crazy distracting stuff. So I have this a little bit faded so that I can focus on this. This is just basically so it's easier to aim at weak points and things like that. I think the smaller the marker, the better, as long as you can see it. Obviously, that's important. Make sure that you can see it. If you have eye trouble, then maybe you need to change it to something else. But this is what I like. And for sniper, I have it on dashed rather than diagonal, and that's just because it helps when I'm in sniper mode. I don't need to see that. I don't care about my health. I know what my health is. I need to be able to focus on what I'm shooting. If I'm in sniper mode, I'm trying to hit something that's far away or whatever, and leading shots. I'm not too worried about my hit points, and if I get shot, I get shot, whatever. But that's distracting in sniper mode, so I have that on dashed. Again, this is all preference stuff. You don't have to do any of this, but to me, it helps to have a small little marker, and even sometimes just changing your reticle marker or something like that, changing some settings around can really sort of, I don't know, freshen your gameplay up a little bit. Like sometimes it's kind of cool. Like it's when you get a new tank sort of thing, it's like something new. If you change it, kind of, it might help you. But this has actual logical reasoning for why I do it like this. Now the last thing, and again, like the mini map is probably the most important thing, is this. Okay, this is over target markers here. You should actually have to use mods to get this, but this, just like the mini map, it's been added in. I see so many people, and it astounds me, they have percent on their thing. You don't need to know percent of anything. Percent is not important. What's important is the actual HP. This is, just as vital as it gets, really, in my opinion. You don't need to know that you've done, how much 365 is actually to this tank. You don't need to know that it's, 79% or whatever, 73%, 73% of that. You don't need to know that. You do need to know what the HP is. I can't stress that enough. I don't know why people have that on percent, don't have it on percent. I guess maybe some people don't even know you can change it. I think percent might be default. Don't know. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you need to know the HP of tanks, because then you know what your damage is relatively going to do to them. So for example, let's say you're going to shoot this tank, you know you do 365 damage, you don't know what you're going to do before you hit him. But if you have his HP, you know, oh, okay, if I'm going to do 365 damage, I know he's going to have this much left. It's simple stuff. So yeah, that's it. I hope this helps some of you guys. Obviously, again, those of you that are, not new to the game or whatever, will probably have most of these settings or some variation there of these settings. But for those of you that do need this sort of thing, I hope it was helpful. It's simple stuff, but it can make a big difference. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next video.